What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is. I've got something very special that I want to share. And I believe that this topic is really going to resonate with anybody that's ever felt the weight of loneliness pressing down on them. We're going to be talking about battling loneliness with God's presence. This has the ability to be a game changer in a day whenever so many people are dealing with loneliness. The good book, it's chock full of people that are dealing with loneliness. And today what we want to do is we want to dive right into the center of it. Loneliness is a universal experience. I just want you to realize this. It can hit you at any time. You could be in a crowded room and feel completely isolated and separated, or you could be home kicking back on the couch with nothing but a bag of chips, and loneliness comes over you. Loneliness is not a new problem. The Bible has been offering solutions for loneliness and other situations like it for thousands of years. I want to introduce you to a man by the name of King David. He wasn't unfamiliar with this thing called loneliness. He wasn't a stranger to it. It was oftentimes that he found himself on the backside of some mountain with nobody to talk to but the sheep. And I guess certainly had many conversations, even in his own head. He found himself alone in the wilderness, and he was even hunted like a wild animal, but he didn't wallow. He never allowed himself to wallow in self-pity. No, what did he do? He turned to God for solitude. And guess what? God was there. He was able to cultivate this incredible relationship with God to where he was known as a man after God's own heart. One of the coolest things that just rings true in my mind is that when you're surrounded by God's creation, you're never really alone. God's presence is always there. His creation surrounds you and it just sings of his glory. David wrote in the 23rd Psalm, he said, "Listen, man, the Lord is my shepherd. I lack absolutely nothing." Come on, that's some powerful assurance right there. Fast forward to the New Testament and remember the story of the Samaritan woman. She was drawing water in the middle of the day, and she has this incredible encounter with Jesus. And she was living a life that was filled with loneliness and regret. Like I'm telling you, that there was a reason why she was the only one drawing water at this time of the day. But what I love is that Jesus met her at the well. Jesus met her in her loneliness, and their conversation changed her life forever. Guess what? It didn't stop there. There was a whole village that came to know the saving grace of Jesus because of the relationship that it began at that well with those two. See, I like to think of this as the most divine water cooler conversation that's ever taken place. God's presence breaks down walls and brings light into dark areas. It brings fellowship, come on, to those that are suffering isolation and solitude. Realize this, that when you're feeling lonely, God is right there with you always. Like he is always there. When it seems like nobody's present, God is absolutely there. And guess what? He's ready for a conversation. What about like our busy lives today? We're going all over the place and our schedules are so filled with points on an agenda. We've got this meeting, we got that meeting, we got this responsibility and that. And man, in the busyness of life, it's so easy, come on, to feel isolated whenever we're surrounded by people. We're swamped with work. We're swamped with family. We're just swamped and overcome by notifications. You ever just notice that your phone, it just keeps dinging, it keeps ringing, and there's always something, there's that next thing. And I'm just telling you that we've got to slow down and make room for the things that truly matter. I don't know what it is, man. We're in a race and we're trying to figure out who can multitask the fastest, as if there's going to be some sort of a crown or a reward at the end of this life. What all were you able to get accomplished in a 24-hour period? The Bible, it encourages us to do one thing, and that is to slow our roll, to slow down. It says, be still and know that I am God. Like we're supposed to recognize even in the craziness, the hecticness of life, that God is God and his presence is there and stillness is available. How is it that we can battle loneliness with God's presence in our daily lives? See, it's all about carving out time, reading the Bible and meditating and just enjoying the presence of the Lord. Whenever you invite God into your life, you'll be amazed at how he'll join you. It will void the loneliness that you're feeling. See, the Bible, it's not just a book. Come on, it's a book filled with life. It's filled with God's presence. In fact, I would say this, that it's a lifeline to the presence of God. It's like having a direct line where you can just ring the one who knows something, or all things, I should say, about everything. He knows you better than you know yourself. If you just take the time and invite him into your life, spend time in the Word, come on, that loneliness is just going to dissipate. Before I jump off here, I just want you to know there's one more thing I got to share. Loneliness can be a sign that you're missing something big in your life. God's presence, it can lead you into other meaningful relationships with God's people. People just want to make some real friends and some real connections. In closing, when loneliness knocks on your door, invite God's presence in. Remember David in the wilderness, out there all alone by himself. I want you to remember the story of the Samaritan woman at the well. And I want you to remember the power and the stillness that is found in the presence of the Lord. Absolutely do not forget to surround yourself with a loving community. Wherever it is that you're tuning in from, find a local body of believers that you can share life with, because we've never been created to do this thing called life alone. I promise you, as you battle loneliness with God's presence, you're going to find that you're never truly alone, and your days are going to get just a little bit brighter. God is right there with you always. His word says that he is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. He'll be with you every single step of the way. I wanted to say thank you so much for joining in today. If this message has in any way, shape, or form touched your heart, please smash that like button. If you ever have a prayer request, just drop it in the chat. We'd love to stand with you. God bless. Thank you again.